In my ongoing effort to try and make sense of building my AlienFlightNG hex brushless F7 board, I was trying to wrap my mind around, or at least kind of visualize the laying out of the different components onto the circuit board. And so instead of, well, before I start fiddling around with the actual components in my hands, I was looking at this layout, the board layout that is available from the AlienFlight website here. I'm looking at this board layout here. That's this file here. And this bill of materials is here as a spreadsheet. So I'd asked about this on the Facebook groups, and Leon Salisbury gave a really great, clear response that as far as the orientation, I didn't want to put anything upside down or reverse polarity because that would just be sad. And some of these things matter and some of them don't. And what I've learned is that resistors and inductors, let's start from the bottom here. Resistors and inductors. The orientation doesn't matter as long as the contacts go on the pads. Well, we've got some resistors and inductors. We've got an inductor right here, L1, position L1. Can we find L1 on the board? Here it is, right here. So that doesn't matter. We can turn that upside down or not. Cool, that's just one of them. Do we have any resistors? We got some resistors. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 items that are resistors, and those are the R1, 2, 3, and 4. And I can find here's R1 here. Here's R4. Here's R2 and R3. So those don't matter. Orientation, great. So let's just mark these as being green, because they're easy. And what was the other one? The inductor? Let's mark that as green. Just for a sense of confidence. Everything that we mark as green is going to be go. No problems. You can turn them upside down or not, as long as you get the correct part, the correct value. So resistors and inductors. Okay, now let's go up here to capacitors. For most parts in these builds, orientation doesn't matter. Look at the schematic. If the component is shown as 2 straight bars, it doesn't matter. If it's shown as 1 straight and 1 curved, it matters. Okay, well, so let's look. We've got a bunch of capacitors here. Probably the bulk of them. 1, 9, 10, 12, 14, 16 of these items are capacitors. And conveniently, they're all labeled with a C. So if we go through, here's C9, that's 2 straight bars, so orientation doesn't matter. C10, C12, C11, C7, C16. We could go through these one at a time and make sure, but it doesn't look like, after my reviewing so far, it doesn't look like any of these have this straight and curved bar where polarity matters. So great, that means that all of these capacitors are going to go in easily with little concern of orientation. Now, diodes and LEDs, position matters. So diodes, do we have any diodes? I'm not seeing any diodes here, none that are listed as such. But we do, we do. We've got a diode and we've got an LED. Yeah, we've got 5 items that are definitely going to be polarity, where polarity matters. Let's make those yellow for warning. We've got Act 1, Act 2, and power. So those 3 LEDs matter. And then the diodes, D1 and D2. Here's D2. And let's see, D1. Here's D1. So here's this. And what I've done is, we don't have a great photo of the hex brushless yet, but the diode is in D2. It's just above this socket here, D2. So that little item there, let's see, here, this item, orientation matters, D2, and D1 is up here, orientation matters, great. So we've got those marked in yellow. And then IC, the position matters. It says position, it's not just orientation, it's position. Basically the same thing, but there should be a mark near one corner of the footprint on the PCB to mark pin 1. And that's this little corner here. So that's going to be pin 1. It shows up, and we've got our photo reference that's here with this small dot. I had read before that there's a mark on the chip itself. I don't know what the difference is between the small and the large dots on these F7s, but according to this board layout, this is the mark for pin 1, and then they number them going all the way around clockwise. So that's great. That's this. We'll make that red. And we've got a gyro. The ICM is here. And again, you can see in this lower right hand corner, there's a slight cut off corner. And that's going to be where pin 1 goes. So orientation matters on that. Resonators, let's see, Y1. Let's see if that matters. Where's Y1? Here's Y1. I'm not sure. It's not an IC. Not an integrated circuit. So we'll have to look at that a little bit closely. It does look like there's an orientation on that photo. So we're definitely going to have to pay careful attention to that. Let's make that yellow. In fact, let's make that red. Why not be careful? USB connector, the dip switches, the MOSFETs. Let's see. Q1. Here's Q1. Oh, that's pretty easy. We've got 2 feet on the top and 1 on the bottom, so that'll be easy to spot the orientation on that. Because the pads on the PCB are going to be like that. We've got this 3-pin receiver. That's just a socket. That's a JST socket. This is a JST socket. This is a USB port. That's also going to be a socket or a connector. And this 3.3 LDO U2. What is that? U2 here. That's nice. It's got 3 feet on the bottom and 2 on the top, so that'll be easy. So we can make that one green as well. Now let's look at this buck board. Not buck board, it's a buck. It's not a boost, it's a buck. So this would be a step down. Buck is stepping down. So U1, where's U1? Anybody see it? What's this? I don't know. Please use 2. Y, Q, L, R, C, C, L, C, Y, C9, R4. I've got a feeling it's going to be this right here, which is not labeled. It's interesting. Well, since we don't know, we're going to have to make that red because it's just not going to be easy. But pretty easily now, we've got a good sense of what's going to be easy to orient. We can make these tip switches. Let's make the tip switches yellow. The JSTs, let's make yellow, because we don't want to just take it for granted about polarity. There we go. Okay, so out of everything on our bill of material, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in yellow. Those are going to take some special attention, but the rest of them are going to be easy. So my confidence has increased.